LaingBuisson has been producing market reports on the private acute healthcare sector in the UK for more than a decade. Having made a decision to not release a report in 2022 due to some clear difficulties in providing a truly accurate view of the market in the aftermath of the pandemic, we published our most recent edition late last year to ensure that we had all the most recent data from providers. As a result, our new 8th edition contains up-to-date information across the self-pay, private medical insurance, NHS-funded subsegments, as well as a full breakdown of clinics by specialism, and insights into the recovery, or lack thereof, of NHS private patient units, and a comprehensive understanding of strategic developments in the private provider sector. One of the major additions to the report is the inclusion of more detailed information on independent clinics. We have included a market value for the clinic segment for the first time, and alongside this, we have included a comprehensive breakdown of CQC-registered independent clinics by their primary specialism. With over 3,500 clinics offering regulated services, this provides a really detailed view of service provision across the sector. And I really cannot stress the importance of understanding the clinic sector. They are a rapidly growing part of the private acute market, and it's our estimate that it's worth nearly $5 billion on its own. Research has found that the private acute healthcare market has rebounded strongly from its decline during the COVID-19 pandemic, with the total market value across all segments reaching more than $11 billion. Provider revenues have been boosted by increases in the number of people paying for their own treatment, with outpatients and clinic activity driving a large part of these volumes. Growth in NHS-funded care has decelerated since the pandemic, but it remains buoyant, and there is an optimism that signals from Labour suggest a change in government won't cause a major rupture in the current dynamic. NHS private patient units are recovering, but are still struggling to reach pre-pandemic levels. However, the picture here often changes on a case-by-case basis, and local pressures are likely to be influencing the extent to which NHS trusts seek to prioritise their private pay income. When we think about the private acute market, there are two really interesting dynamics at play. Firstly, there is the interplay between traditional private hospital operators with the large, complex, multi-specialty provision and the historic relationships that had been built up with insurers and commissioners, and the emergence of increasingly nimble single specialty clinics. This is not an either-or situation. Both have a really important role to play in sector provision in the future. What will be fascinating to see, however, is how this plays out in the years ahead and whether it leads to a real change in service offers, either by existing providers or new market entrants. Secondly, our analysis points to a shift in the revenue balance between self-funders, private medical insurance, and NHS-funded care. This has slowly taken shape over the last couple of decades and raises a raft of issues over how to best capture market share in a growing market, as well as asking serious questions over where the balance of power in the complex relationship between operators, insurers, and medical professionals really sits. Whilst many specialties are performing strongly across the private acute market, we find that ophthalmology and orthopedics are continuing to perform particularly well. Both are markets that benefit from NHS-funded care being delivered in the private sector, whilst also operating at a price point that allows a relatively broad cross-section of society to consider self-funding their treatment in the face of long NHS waiting lists. Interestingly, there appears to be growth in the willingness of younger people to pay for their own care. Now, a large part of this appears to be about access and diagnosis, rather than necessarily treatment. It seems that a willingness to pay for certainty appears to be a driver, with GP appointments and diagnostics being particular focus areas for younger people. National Private Acute Healthcare Report has been written with the aim of answering the questions that an investor should be asking when viewing a new investment opportunity. Our market projections and the reasons behind them, including key drivers for change, are just some of the market insights that can help the development of critical thinking when putting together a strategic business case or for those looking to assess the value of a potential asset. It is essential reading for those looking to invest in the UK private healthcare market for the first time and holds real relevance for anyone involved in M&A transactions and the development of new service offers.